Welcome everybody to this weekend's only game. Today is against the Philadelphia Blazers. The Angel playing here on rink 4 at Iceland. Team Philly still down a few men. Ben Peruto and Blake Krecker. Looks like Blazers might also be down a man. It's a pretty strong matchup today. Blazers seem to play hard. All right, start us off first shift today. Looks like Braden Fisher, Sean Tobin, Brady Tusa, Aiden Nichols, and Ricky Wright with Aiden Mott in net. Looks like we're all set. Touchdown, one back by Team Philly. Tobin sends it long. It'll be an icing call. Touchdown, back up to the point, try to get a shot off. Shot attempt goes wide, back into the back corner. Blazers gather it, send it back out, picked up by Nichols. Nichols got a couple guys behind him, dumps it in all the way to the back wall. Goaltender knocks it back, sent into the protective netting. Fisher on the faceoff, flanked by Tusa and Nichols. Puck's down, back over. Fisher tried to push it through. Shuffles it back around to the opposite side. Picked back up. Sent alongside. Fisher with a body check. Gets it back over to Ricky. Ricky shuffles it back over to Tobin. Tobin back into the neutral area. Sends it deep. Line change for Team Philadelphia. Nichols with some forecheck pressure. Gets around a man. Comes by. Sends it on net. Tried to hit the goaltender from the backside. Sent deep. Delayed offsides. Lucas back on the forecheck. Doherty with Fisher. Sent all the way back. Team Philly had cleared the zone. Back over, knocked down by Fisher. Fisher back over to Doc. Doc shuffles it in. Lucas on the forecheck all the way to the back wall. Blazers shuffle it back alongside. Knocked down by Thies. Lucas picks it up. Looks at it. Try to get over to Doc. Knocked back down by Fisher. Fisher sends it over to the opposite side. He's charging the blue line. Maintains the zone. Doherty back along to put pressure on. Blazers sweep around. Send it up the wall. Try to click it forward. Lucas with a check. Back into the neutral zone. Picked up by Bops. Bops loses an edge. Shuffles it back over to Lucas. Lucas sends it deep. Line change for Team Philly. Fisher back over. Sends it back over to Doc. Doc looks to center and pass. Gets it right to the goaltender. He puts the glove down on it. Bart, Kobe, Luca, Ricky, and Lang out on the ice. Picked back up. Luca reached for it, couldn't get to it. Kobe's there to help tap back. Ricky on the back check. Over to get it. Pinned up against the wall. Try to get it back out. Back out to Kobe. Kobe tries to clear the zone. Luca gets it into the neutral zone. Blazers shuffle across, send it deep. Aiden back over to knock it down, picked up by Lang. Lang back over to Kobe. Kobe back into the neutral zone, delayed offside by the Blazers. Ricky gathers it, back out to Luca. Luca taps it forward. Kobe back over to get to it. Good hustle by Kobe. Fisher, Nichols, Cusa out on the ice. Puck's down, back into the corner. Blazers shuffle it back behind the net. Fisher back over to put some pressure on the puck. Blazers try to clear the zone, unable to do so. Cusa with a backhand, try to get it back over. Fisher's back over to body check. Blazers get it, shuffles it out. Send it to the opposite side. Look up in the neutral zone, taps it forward. Ricky's back over, sends it into the neutral zone. Pick back up. Cusa forward back over the opposite side to Nichols. Nichols try to make his way around, gets pinned up against the wall. Sent back all the way to the back wall. Lang picks it up, no icing. Lang back up to Cusa. Cusa has it come off the stick wrong. Good stick by Fisher. Fisher sends it back over to Cusa. Taps it forward, back over to Nichols. Nichols sends it long. Blazers into the neutral zone, come across blue line. Bops is there. Aiden knocks it down. Send back up, over. Blazers. And there will be an icing call. Lucas, Fisher out on the ice. Sean and Bops back on the defensive end. Puck's down. Fisher taps it forward. Still there. Try to make it play out. Tobin tried to send it deep. Has it knocked down. Back over to the opposite side. Blazers regroup. No icing. Aiden's back over. Picked up by Tobin. Tobin. Peeled the defender off him. Lucas is there, try to help out. Doc swipes it in, sends it all the way to the back wall. Blazers back on the back check. Gather, it's back out to the point to Bops. Bops gets a shot attempt off from the point. Goaltender fixing equipment. Looks like we're all set. Lucas on the face-off. Puck's down, picked up by Doc. Doc shuffles it forward, try to backhand. Picked up by the Blazers into the neutral zone. Send it all the way to the opposite side. Aiden back over. Tobin gathers it. Kicks it back over to Fisher. Fisher into the neutral zone. Blazers send it all the way to the back wall on the opposite side. Picked up by Bops. Bops, Lucas. Try to clear it back up. Tobin kicks it back up. Goes long. Lucas right down the center. Lucas had an opportunity. Had two guys on him. Back out to the point to Bops. Bops gets a shot attempt off. Puck is still out. Picked up by Bops, delayed offsides. Good stick by Bops. Blazers cycle it out over. Get it over the neutral line. Bops with a good stick. Bops gets taken off the puck. Lucas back over. Sent back over to the opposite side. Bops knocks it back down. Lucas swipes at it. Tobin back over to Kobe. Kobe got Lucas. Back over to, oh my gosh, golden opportunity. .55. Puck's down, back over. Sent up to the point. Thies is there. Thies drops it in. Knocked down. Bart back over to gather it. Bart sends it out to the point to Lang. Lang tried to get a shot attempt. Oh my gosh. A redirect just gets by the goaltender on the outside edge of the net. Kobe. Forecheck pressure back onto the defender. Blazers try to clear it back out. Thies is there to knock it back down. Jake holds it in. Blazers. And that's an offsides. .21. Bart, Jake, Kobe. Cuts back down, swiped in. Blazers gather it, come into the neutral zone. Try to send it deep. Now they do, back over to the opposite side. Lang's back over to retrieve it. Back out by Thies. Thies pulls it back. Now it's into the neutral zone. Blazers, delayed offside, cleared. Back over to Aiden. Aiden knocks it down, picked up by Lang. Lang, back over to Kobe. Kobe, got Cusick coming center ice. Kobe sends it over to the opposite wall. Fisher moves around, has it knocked away. Picked up by the Blazers. Blazers, knocked down by Tobin. Oh, that's an offsides. Tobin tried to get through, is unable to do so. That's an icing call. Fisher, Cusa, Nichols, Tobin, and Ricky. Puck's down. Fisher tried to pick it up. Cusa backhands it. Glove down by the Blazers. Blazers into the neutral zone. Try to center it back over to Ricky. Ricky quickly turns and sends it into the defensive zone. Hits his own player and goes all the way back. Nichols with some forecheck pressure. Try to get there. Back over to Cusa. Cusa leaves it alone for a Tobin. Oh. Nichols try to skate back. Didn't have his eyes open. Sent back up. Odd man rush for the Blazers. Nice defensive stick by Ricky. Back out to the point. Blazers back over. Try to center it. Pick back up. Fisher sends it long. Fisher all the way down on a forecheck back into the corner. Fisher tried to trap it. Gets rubbed off the puck. Blazers gather it. Sent back out into the neutral zone. Ricky back over to Tobin. Tobin gets it over to Doc. Doc on the ice with Fisher and Lucas. Lucas back center ice. Back over to Fisher. Fisher tried to backhand. Picked up by Lucas. Sent back out to Ricky at the point. Puck is still loose. Sent all the way down. That'll make it to Aiden. Aiden drops it back. Sends it back over to Tobin. Tobin back over to Doherty. Doherty across the blue line. Back out to Fisher. Fisher gets a shot attempt off. Goaltender knocks it to the back wall. Scores! I have no idea how that went in. I think it came off the back wall and hit the goaltender in the back and dropped in. So that was Lucas with the first goal of the game. I honestly have no idea how that went in the net. So Team Philly would take a 1-0 lead at the 7:52 mark. Pick back up over to Thies. Thies try to send it long, goes off a defender in front. Thies is back over. tries to drop it again. Lucas comes across the blue line. Opposite side to Fisher, jumps his stick back over to the back wall, side wall. Cycled back over. Blazers back into the neutral zone. Thies is back over to gather. Shot attempt goes wide after he gets by Fisher. Set all the way, delayed offsides, picked up by Aiden. Aiden drops it over to Thies. Thies sends it back over to Bops. Bops has got Lucas ahead of him. Sends it long. Gets it all the way back to the goaltender. He puts a glove on it. Puck's down, back over. Blazers. Heston putting pressure onto the puck. Lucas back over to help. Bops at the neutral zone, tries to stop it. Thies back over to recover. Aiden with a nice save. The goal is off the moorings. Lucas back over. Try to clear it. Back over to the opposite side. Jake in a foot race, unable to get there in time. Cleared back through, now into the neutral zone. Jake on a forecheck. Luca back over, tries to stop it. Blazers hit it in. Delayed offside, cleared. Cycle back over to the opposite side. Thies sends it back over to the opposite corner. Cusa, Nichols, Fisher back on it. Ooh, turnover. Opposite side, back out to Nichols. Nichols gets a shot attempt off and goes just wide outside the net. Back over to Cusa. Cusa cycles back over to Fisher. Back over to Cusa. Looking. Golden opportunity. All the way back over to the opposite corner. Knocked back down. Fisher turns, fires. And into the protective netting. Puck's down, back over to the sidewall, picked up by Lang. Lang, oh my gosh, goaltender. Barely saw it at the very end. All the way back out in the neutral zone. Ricky shuffles it back, delayed offsides. Blazers come across the blue line, kick it forward. Ricky back into the back corner. Ricky shuffles it around the boards. Fisher back over to help. Blazers try to send it into the corner. Ricky's there on the defensive end. Blazers try to center, goes all the way back. Line change for Team Philadelphia. Well, Lucas comes on in placement of Braden Fisher. Sent back up. Lucas picks the puck up. Sent back over. All the way deep, tap forward, back over to Lang. Lang gets it to Doc, streaming up center ice. Comes across the blue line. Try to get a shot attempt off. Back behind. Lucas swipes at it. Back up to the point. Had Fisher coming around opposite side. Lucas fires a shot and goes wide. Picked up by Bops. Doc taps it forward, back over to Lucas. Sends it back opposite side. Picked up by Fisher. Fisher. Doc. Back out. Looking. Tries the centering pass. Goes off a skate out into the corner. Fisher picks it up to the point. Knocked back down. Center pass. And shot attempt goes off a defender's stick into the rafters. Lucas on face-off, back over to Tobin. Tobin sends it around the opposite side. Holds up, has a guy right in his grill. Shot attempt. And Aiden gloves it down. Back over. Tobin's back over, shuffles it over to Bops. Bops sends it up the wall, picked up by Fisher just outside of his reach. Blazers send it to the back wall, picked up by Tobin. Tobin, back out to Doc. Doc gets Lucas going long. Back over, Sends it deep. Makes his way back over to Fisher. Fisher couldn't control. Lucas picks it up, sends it over to Dot. Back out to the point to Bops. Picked up. Lucas tried to get it back out. Bops there. Sends it long. Delayed offsides. Cleared zone. Blazers send it up. Picked up by Bart in the neutral zone. Bart dumps it in. All the way to the back wall. Follows up with a forecheck. Blazers cycle it back over to the opposite side. Get out to the man in the neutral zone. Come across. Tobin's there. Makes a move around. Sends it over to the opposite side to Kobe. Kobe comes across the blue line. Gets a shot attempt off. Goaltender thought about releasing it. Bart, Luca, Kobe, Lang, and Thies. Puck's down. Blazers send it over to the opposite side. Bart's there. Cycles it back over to Luca. Luca tries to send it back out to the point. Thies is there. Back over to Bart. Skips his stick. Luca gives it back up to Bart. Bart tries to tap it around. Loses it off. Blazers come up the opposite side. Back over to Lang. Lang swats at it. Gets by him. Goes all the way to the back wall for Team Philadelphia. Bart putting pressure onto the puck. Good job by Thies. Hold it in. Puck's trapped between his skate and the wall. That comes out. Shot attempt. Takes a ricochet and goes the opposite side. Picked up by Bart. Bart tried to cycle it back out to Luca. Luca. Guy loses an edge. Luca goes all the way down on the forecheck. Sends it across crease. Goes all the way to the opposite corner. Kobe tries to dish it down. Picked up by the Blazers. Sent into the neutral zone. Line change for the Blazers. Lang gets it. Lang tried to get it out to the neutral zone. Picked up by Fisher. Fisher dumps it in. Blazer gloves it down. Tabs it forward. Aiden guides it. Sends it back over to Ricky. Ricky. Fisher taps it. Blazers coach raising a hand like a penalty. Guy tripped on his own. Nichols back over. Thought about the back pass. Came off the stick wrong. Back out to the point to Tobin. Tobin keeps it in the zone. Blazers pick it up. Aiden with a nice steer into the corner. Gets it out of play. Kicks it over to Nichols. Delayed offsides. Blazers have to clear. Knocked back down. Goaltender is there to retrieve it. Puts a stick on it. Fisher, Cusa, Nichols. Fisher tried to push through. Sent back in the neutral zone. Tobin's there. All the way back. Ricky picks it up in the defensive zone. Looks, uses the net for his protection. Gets around, shuffles it back over to Tobin. Tobin back out to Cusa. Cusa in the neutral zone. Has it knocked away. Sends it back. Fisher with the follow-up. Comes back through. Looks. Try to drop it in for Tobin. 2-on-1. Aiden with a nice save. Seconds left first period. Puck's down. Lucas tried to gather it. Sent back up. Fisher's over. Cycles it back. Sends it into the neutral zone. Doc. A little bit of token pressure. Sent all the way back. Bops. Back over to Fisher. Fisher tried to use the skate to clear it out. Sent all the way back. 4 seconds. And Aiden knocks it down and holds it. That's the end of the first period. So Team Philly, after one, leads 1-0. Heading into the second period. All right, looks like we're all set. Coach giving some last second instructions. All right, so Thies, Bops, Lucas, Doc, and Fisher out onto the ice. Puck's down, back over to Doc, sends it back up to Fisher. Fisher across the blue line. Gets a nice shot attempt off, cut the goaltender off guard, picked up by Lucas. Lucas looking, cycles it back over to Doc. Back out to Bops. Bops ops it over to Thies. Thies try to take a shot through. Send it back over. Back over to Lucas. Lucas, 3-on-2. Scored! Lucas with the shot. Fisher picks up the loose puck and gets it in the goal. Good teamwork coming out. So Fisher on the board with a nice rebound. So 2-0 at the 16:29 mark, second period. Fisher, Nichols, Cusa. Puck's down, sent back, Lang. Sends it back up over to Nichols, tried to tap it forward. Couldn't locate the puck, then sends it deep. Cusa on the opposite side for the forward check, tried to be knocked down. Ricky's there, tried to get a stick on it, knocked over his stick. Nichols back over to regroup. Send back up all the way out to the point. Back over to Nichols. Nichols gets it back up to Cusa. Cusa cycles it back, centers. Fisher clears, got two. Back out to Cusa. Cusa! Oh my gosh. Good stick control by the Blazers. Puck's still not in control. Referees trying to get it cleared out. Still doing battle. Puck is still rolling around. Now it's back out over to Nichols. Back out to the point to Lang. Lang try to get a shot attempt. That goes into protective netting. Kobe, Bart, Jake, Lang, and Ricky out on the defensive end. Puck's down. Bart tried to send it back, picked up. Heston. Still floating around. Goaltender hadn't picked it up yet. Good stick by Kobe. Blazers send it deep. Aiden's there, shuffles it back over to Ricky. Ricky back over to Lang. Lang makes a move. Opposite side, back out to Jake. Jake try to get around a man. Peels a defender off. Back into the corner. Jake with a good check into the boards. Kobe back over to help. Kobe trying to pick it up. Backhands, gets it over to the corner. Lang's back over. Makes its way into the neutral zone. Bart picks it up. Back over to Ricky. Kobe, try to swipe it back. Maintained, sent back. Picked up by Doc, who's just onto the ice. Got Bart with him. Ooh, goaltender didn't really see that coming. There's going to be a interference call coming up. Blazers clear. For the goaltender, and so first penalty of the game goes against Team Philly. So interference. So Ricky with the interference. So Fisher, Nichols, Bops, and Tobin out on the defensive end to try to kill this 2-minute penalty off. Puck's down, picked up by Tobin. Tobin sends it long. Blazers stop it at the blue line. Comes back up. Oh, Fisher picks it up. Fisher one-on-one with the goaltender. Could be shorthanded. Gets a shot attempt off Nichols. Drops it over to the opposite side. Fisher kicks it in. Fisher knocks it down himself. Back over to Nichols. Nichols takes a swat at it. Good way to kill 30 seconds off the penalty. Got floating back behind. Blazers cycle back over to the opposite side. Pull it into the corner, looking. Send it back over. Pick it out to the point. Out into the wing. Shot attempt goes wide. Back out to the point. Cycles it back out. Tobin sends it long. It's all the way back. Lucas comes back on for Fisher. 50 seconds left. Go long, picked up by Lucas. Lucas try to make his way around, cycles it back over to Tobin. Sends it back over. Lucas tried to glove it down, sent back over. 34 seconds left. Picked back up. Dumped all the way back. Nichols with forecheck. Nichols comes off. Luka comes on. 21 seconds left on the penalty kill for Team Philadelphia. Back into the neutral zone. Lucas a little token pressure. Blazers come back across. Luka. Bops. Pokes at it. Sends back out to the point. And that will kill the penalty. Even strength waiting for the extra defender to come on the ice. Aiden, woo, that was close. Back over to Lucas. Lucas sends it long. It's got Luka coming out. 2-on-1 opportunity. Back over. Oh, just back behind Doc. Tobin presses. Gets the defender to the back wall. And Aiden puts a glove on it. .45. Thies, Lang, Lucas, Doc, Fisher out onto the ice. Back over, picked up by Thies. Thies sends it into the neutral zone. No icing. Doc with some token pressure. Cycle back over. Lucas try to clear it back out to the point. Thies sends it over to the opposite side. Fisher back over to knock it down. Gets by him. Back out to Lang at the point. Goaltender guides it down. Picked back up. Thies with a shot attempt. Same lineup. Blazers try to clear it. Back out to Thies. Thies drops it in. Picked back up by Lucas. Lucas back over to Doc. Doc back out to Lucas. Gets a shot attempt off. Goaltender blocker side save. Knocks it down in front of him. Sent out. Blazers come around. Lang all the way to the back corner. Picked up by Lucas. Lucas send it back out to Doc. Doc's got Fisher ahead of him. Lucas following. Doc makes his way around. Clears back up. Nice shot attempt. Kick save by the goaltender. Lucas pressure on. Center pass back over to the opposite side. Knocked down by Lang. Back out to Lucas. Lucas cycles it back over to Doc. Just outside of his reach. Picked up by Blazers. Lucas picks it up with his stick. Sends it back over to Doc. Doc center pass right to the slot. Ooh, wicked shot. Took a wide bounce. Lang on the back check. And there's going to be a penalty called. So a trip on Lang. At the 10:05 mark. So Fisher Nichols out on the ice. Back over, picked back up by Tobin. Tobin tried to clear it, jumps the Blazers stick and back into the neutral zone, sent back over to the opposite side. Turns, comes across, looks, sends it to the other side. Picked back up on the point, Fisher holding up. Blazers at the point, now on the wing. Shot attempt goes high over Aiden's head. Picked up by Tobin. Tobin sent it back down. Sent back over to the opposite side. Blazers into the neutral zone looking. Drop it into the zone. Send it back over to opposite point. Picked up by Fisher. Fisher back over to Tobin. Tobin sends it long. Nichols all the way on forecheck. Picks it back up. Looks. Fisher. Bart. Back over. Sent it back over to the opposite side. Picked up by Nichols. Nichols. Cycles it back. Bart. Good pressure on two. Back over to Ricky. Ricky on the back check. Ricky loses an edge. Blazers send it back opposite side. Aiden thought saw go over his shoulder. Team Philly kills it off all the way to the back. Still 24 seconds left on the penalty kill. Blazers trying to regroup. Pressure by Luka. Blazers come across the blue line. Look, set something up. Aiden with a nice save back into the corner. That's even strength. Lucas out onto the ice, and Aiden cradles it. .758, so even strength. Team Philly successfully kills off second penalty. Lucas, Doc, Fisher, Thies, and Bobst. Thies there. Lucas turns and drops back out to Fisher. Fisher jumps it in. All the way to the opposite side. Doc into the corner. Try to pick it up. Blazers gather it. Tipped by Fisher. Bops knocks it back down again. Fisher picked up by Lucas. Lucas sends it back over to Bops. Bops back into the neutral zone. Picked up by Fisher. Fisher across the blue line. Looking. Back out to Lucas. Oh, gets a shot attempt off and goes wide. Sent all the way to the back wall. Aiden sends it all the way back up. Fisher loses his edge. Sent back out. Blazers gather, send it out on the wing. Good pickup by Lucas. Back out to Lucas. Bops sends it over to the opposite side. Doc has to turn the corner. Feast back over. Blazers send it out to the point. And there's a score. The Blazers get on the board after the puck juggles around for a little. So 2-1, and the 6:42 left in the second period. So Team Philadelphia rotates on Fisher, Nichols, and Cusa. Cusa back over, tries to drop it in. Blazers gather. Aiden with a nice save. Back out to the point. Shot attempt goes wide. Picked up by Lang. Lang back into the neutral zone. Blazers look to gather it. Have to wait to hold up. Kick back out. Back out to Lang. Shuffles around the opposite side. Cusa back over against the wall. Blazers pick it up at the point. Aiden guides it into the corner. Nobody's deciding on who needs to pick the puck up. And Aiden with a beautiful save after indecision by Team Philly. Puck's down, back out. Kobe tried to take a swipe at it. Blazers turn and fire back over to Ricky. Ricky's got two guys on him. Lang picks up the loose puck. Try to take a swipe at it. Blazers gather into the corner. Ricky back over. He's got two guys on him. Back over to Kobe. Kobe tried to turn and backhand. Unable to get the puck out of the zone. Lang. Team Philly struggling to get the puck out of the zone. There's an interference call coming up on the Blazers. I was going to say that. Kobe tried to make his way around. Player decides to play the player, not the puck. So Team Philadelphia at the 5:15 mark will be on a power play. Fisher on the faceoff. Lucas, Nichols, Doc, and Bops. Blazers back into the corner. Nichols tried to knock it down. Aiden. Aiden nonchalantly cycles it back over. Picked up by Doc. Doc across the blue line. Looks. Sent back over to the opposite side. Blazers cycle it back up. Lucas picks it up at the point. Back over to Bops. Bops cycles it back over. Team Philly's having trouble trying to get their power play organized here. Back over to Nichols. All the way over to the opposite side. Bops. Doc gathers it. Cycled all the way back to the opposite wall, picked up by Nichols. Back over to Doc. Cycled it back over to Lucas. Back over to Nichols on the opposite side. 46 seconds left. Not a single shot on goal yet. Oh, Lucas loses an edge. Back over to Nichols. 23 seconds. Lucas comes across the blue line. Looks to get something set up. Back out to Cusa. Oh, had Fisher on the opposite side. Nichols. Back out to Cusa. Even strength. Back out to Nichols. Turns to get the shot attempt off. Cusa gets a shot attempt, goes over top of the goaltender's head. Cusa cycles it around opposite side. Fisher's there. 2:48 left second period. Back into the slot. Scores! Fisher with the feed to Cusa. With the wicked one-timer to the back of the net. Good persistent pressure by Team Philadelphia. Fisher to Cusa. Never heard that before. It gives that 2-goal advantage. 2:44 left in the second period. Tobin, little fake. Goes to the opposite side. That's going to be an icing call. Nope, waved it off. Cusa back a little pressure. Blazers try to clear his zone. Picked up by Fisher. Fisher try to turn. Lose it off the stick. Kobe back over. Put pressure on it. Blazers cycle it back out. Knocked down by Ricky. Keep it in the zone. Picked up by Fisher. Fisher looking. Oh my gosh, had Cusa. The tip just went outside. Kobe. Try to release it. And offsides is the call. Back out Fisher. Fisher sends it forward. Goaltender knocks it down. Picked up, sent into the neutral zone. And Aiden cradles it as the shot goes off a Ricky stick and trickles over to him. Line change for Team Philadelphia. Doc, Lucas, Fisher. One back over to the corner. Ricky's back over to pick it up. Gets taken off the puck. Center pass. Good defensive pressure by Tobin. Back over to Doc. Doc over to Lucas. Lucas kicks it forward. Loses the stick. Picks the stick back up. Fisher back over to put pressure onto the puck. Blazers try to send it up the board. Back out to the point to Ricky. Ricky. And that goes into the protective netting. for Tobin. Lucas try to win it forwards, unable to do so. Blazers pick it up, send it deep into the zone. Ricky back over into the corner. Lucas back over to takes a man off the puck. Aiden, I don't know how he got a stick on, loses his stick. Now it's sent into the neutral zone. Doc's over there, Fisher's there, try to knock it forward. Pick back up. Odd man rush. Oh, guy loses an edge. Pick back up by Ricky. Ricky sends it over to Fisher. Fisher. Try to get it back out all the way to the neutral zone. 33 seconds. Delayed offsides. Got to come out. Clear the zone. 24 seconds. Back out to Bopst. Bopst maneuvers around. Sends it deep. 16 seconds. And hit the netting. Seconds left, second period. 3-1 Team Philadelphia. Fisher, Nichols, Cusa, Lang, and Thies out on the ice. Puck's down. Drop back to Cusa. Wow, nice attempt. All right, so end of 2. Team Philadelphia up 3-1. Like we're all set for third period. 17 minutes remaining in this game. Cusa, Nichols, Fisher, Lang, and Thies. Puck's down, picked up by Cusa, sent back over to Lang. Cycles back over to Thies. Thies back over to Cusa, drops it in all the way back. Goaltender puts a glove and holds it. Puck's down, back over to Cusa, drops it over. Blazers send it into the neutral zone, gets knocked down by Nichols. Nichols drops it in, delayed offside, picked back up by the Blazers. Blazers. Picked up by Nichols. Nichols tried to get a shot attempt off, goes off a defender. Center pass. Blazers gather it, send it into the neutral zone, back over to Thies. Thies, back over. Thies with a good check, picked up by Lang. Lang shuffles it back out to Nichols. Nichols drives it forward, back over to Fisher. Fisher takes a whiff at it, backhand. Line change for Team Philly. Cusa with some token pressure back into the corner. Send it back out. Blazers cross the blue line, nobody with him. Aiden steers it to the corner. Lang cycles it back over to Bops. Bops back against the other wall. Lucas out onto the ice. Sends it forward. Try to hit Doc running long. Bops putting pressure onto the puck. Cycle back over. Blazers backhand. Aiden steers it wide. Pick back up. Lucas got an opportunity. Got Doc on the opposite side. Oh my gosh, waited just a little bit too long. Tried to wait for that 5-hole to open up. Doc got covered. Ricky, Tobin, Doc, Lucas, Ben. Puck's down. Back over. Doc over to pick it up. Now it's over. Pins the defender up against the wall. Lucas. Picked back up by Tobin. Tobin, shot attempt. Goaltender, tried to glove it. Comes out of his glove. Back out to Tobin. Tobin back over to Lucas. Lucas, offsides, have to clear the zone. They do. Blazers. Send it all the way to the back wall. Aiden tried to pick it up, back over to Tobin. Tobin. Lucas taps it forward. Doc over to pick it up. Doc with a shot attempt, steered back into the corner. Fisher back over to Lucas. Lucas makes a move around. It's a not nice shot attempt. Luca, Jake, Bart, Ricky, Tobin. Puck's down, back out to the point to Ricky. Ricky with a shot attempt. Goaltender steers it back over to the corner. Blazers look to break out. Luca with a little token pressure on. Back over to Tobin. Tobin sends it deep. Sent back over to the neutral zone. Picked back up by Jake. Delayed offsides. That's an icing call. $13.55. Puck's down, Blazers back into the neutral zone, picked up by Ricky. Ricky tries to send it deep. Fisher picks it up. Cusa, try to knock it back. Cusa sends it over to the corner, picked up by Fisher. Fisher looking, fights through. One, back out to Ricky at the point. Ricky dops it in. Back over to Fisher. Fisher peels off, try to backhand, goes off the backside of the net. Fisher's still there. Picked back up by Cusa. Cusa tried to clear the zone. Blazers knock it back down. Send it alongside the board. Pick back up. Jumps a stick. Cusa in a foot race. Sent back out in the neutral zone. Opposite side. Bops knocks it back down. Lucas. Pressure onto the puck. Sends it back over to Thies. Thies sends it deep. Thies picks it up. Gets taken off the puck. Picks it back up again. Sends it back over. Fisher knocks it back down. Sent back over to the opposite side, over to Bops. Bops. Over to Doc. Doc. Back over to Fisher. Fisher. Try to hit Lucas. Lucas knocks it back down again. Now it's into the neutral zone. That was an offsides, clearly, as he rode the line. Blazers send it over to the opposite side. Sent back on the net. Aiden knocks it back down into the corner. Doc. Back over to Fisher. Fisher. Send it over long. Picked up by a defender. Blazers send it into the neutral zone. Ricky tries to send it up the boards. Tap forward into the neutral zone. Blazers gather. Ben sends it all the way to the back wall. Goaltender guides it out. Kobe out onto the ice. Picks it up. Sends it deep. Luca with Bart. Kobe gathers it. Try to swipe it back out. Sent back over to Lang. Lang gets it on net. Goaltender, blocker side save into the corner. Bart try to pick it up. Luca back over to help out. Back out. Aiden steers it over to the corner. Picked up by Kobe. Kobe. Try to kick it forward. Trips on the puck himself. I disagree with Wolf on that. Feed right to the center of the net. Blazers tap it and goes wide. Fisher, Cusa, Nichols. Tobin back over to gather it. Send it over to the opposite side, over to Bops. Bops sends it long into the neutral zone. Blazers get it, have to clear the zone. Back over to Tobin. Tobin jumps it back over. Cusa picks it up, had a stick lifted. Now it's into the neutral zone, picked up by Fisher. Fisher, offside cleared. Blazers send it over to the opposite corner. Try to get in the neutral zone. Tobin tabs it forward. Back over to Bops. Bops. Fisher, stick lift, picks it up. Looking, gets a shot attempt off. Goaltender steers it down. And that goes into the protective netting. .25 left. Lucas, Doc, Fisher, Tobin, Bopst. Puck's down, back out to Tobin. Tobin sends it deep. Fisher back over into the corner. Blazers get by. Tobin on the back check. Back out to Lucas. Lucas taps it forward into the neutral zone. Blazers pick it up. Lucas drops it back over to Tobin. Tapped at center ice all the way back. Fisher on the forecheck. Lucas back over to help try to pick it up. Blazers swipe it out to the opposite side. Pick up into the corner, looking long. Lucas knocks it back down, picks it up by Fisher. Fisher's got Doc. Gets a shot attempt off. Right into the slot. Tobin's there. Tobin comes forward. Back over to Doc. Doc looking for a little bit of help. Tips it back over. Ooh, sends it back out all the way. Aiden's there. Cycles it back out. Over to Tobin. Oh my gosh. So close. Offsides. Bart on the face-off. Kobe. Heston joining him. Lang sends it long. Goaltender steers it back into the corner. Heston back over. Puck is down. Heston trying to tie it up. Kobe back over to put pressure on. Blazers pick it up, send it out the backside. Bart over. Back over to Kobe. Kobe loses it off the backside. It's Jake trying to put pressure on. Thies puts his body between the puck and the defender. Picked back up at the point. Oh my gosh. Ada didn't clearly see that, but that went off the post. Thies back over. Tapped it back out. Shot attempt. Aiden had no visibility into that whatsoever. Kobe taps it forward. Line change for Team Philadelphia. Cusa Fisher. Cusa pivots back. Sends it back over. Clears. Back out to Fisher. Fisher sends it over to the opposite side. 6:54 left in the game. Back out to Thies at the point. Blazers into the neutral zone. Center pass. Comes across the blue line. Picks it up. Goes over Aiden's head. Sent back over into the corner. Nichols is there. Try to put pressure on it. Shot attempt. Aiden couldn't glove it down. Picked back up into the neutral zone. Picked up by Cusa. Cusa over to Fisher. Fisher tried to soft roll a pass to him. Gets picked up by the Blazers. Picked up by Nichols. Nichols looking. Shot gets knocked down. Cusa had a chance. Blazers centering pass. Back over to Ricky. Ricky gets it quickly into the neutral zone. Nichols goes long with it. Fisher back over into the corner. Oh my gosh, gets a shot attempt. Goaltender couldn't put a glove completely on it. Blazers come across the blue line. Ricky, good pressure onto the puck. Cycles it back over. Lucas has it picked from his pocket, sent back out in the neutral zone. Lucas picks it up. 3-on-1 opportunity. Gets a shot attempt off. Back into the neutral zone, picked up by Ricky. Ricky cycles it back over to Tobin. Tobin cycles around the other side. Fisher out. Goaltender knocks it down, kills the forecheck. Pressure onto the puck. Doc coming back. Cleared out of the neutral zone. Fisher tried to get to it. Sends it deep. 5 minutes left in this game. Doc back over in the corner. Tries to shuffle it back out to the point. And that's an offsides. 4:51 left in the game. Puck's down. Back into the zone. Tobin's there. Holds it back up. Back over to Doc. Doc backhands it into the zone, all the way to the back wall. Fisher on the opposite side for some forecheck pressure. Puck taken away. Back out to the point. Tobin thought about it. Sends it deep. Cleared the zone. Blazers try to send it into the neutral zone. Picked up by Ricky. Fisher dumps it in. Tobin. Back over to Dot. Dot shuffles it back up to Ricky. Ricky loses a 2-on-1 opportunity. Drove it just a little bit too long. Backhand goes wide. Back up to Luca. Luca. Try to clear it. Blazers send it deep to the opposite side. Ricky's back over. Shot attempt. Ada knocks it down. Picked up in the opposite side. Luca sends it deep. Heston out onto the ice. Luca's there. Picked up by Bart. Bart sends it deep. 3:24 left in this game. Goaltender shuffles it over to the opposite corner. Back out. Bops. Back check. Picked up by Bart. Double team. Got the neutral zone. Sent all the way back out. Jake clears his own. Luca's there doing battle. Bart sends it back over to Thies. Thies sends it up. Send back over to Thies. Thies. Oh my gosh. Went into the Raptors' head. Nichols on the opposite blue line all by himself. .249 left in the game. Fisher, Cusa, Nichols. Cusa knocks it into the corner. Thies is back over. Blazers pick it up. And Aiden with the glove. Puck's back. Now it's into the neutral zone. Nichols swipes at it, goes off a defender. Blazers pick it up. Good defensive stick by Bops. Bops try to hold it up. Nichols back over to help him. Knocked back down by Cusa. Goaltender thought about releasing it. Nichols, Cusa, Fisher. Nichols drops it back over to Fisher. Back out to the point to Bops. To Bops. Back out in the corner to Fisher. Fisher looking. Back over to Cusa. Cusa gets taken off the puck. Fisher with a stick lift. Into the protective netting. So timeout. Blazers. So 2:03 left in the game. set. Lucas, Doc, Fisher, Bobst, and Thies out onto the ice for 2:03. Offensive zone face-off for Team Philadelphia. I'm sure Blazers probably pull the goaltender. They can get it down to the other end. Pick back up, sent to the back wall. Off of Lucas's stick. Thies, as they try to send it up the wall. Bobst into the neutral zone, drop down. Have to wait for the zone to clear. Cycled around to the other side. Goaltender comes off. Empty net. Pick back up, over to Lucas. Drop back down. Doc had an opportunity to send it on net. Drops it back. Sent back out to the neutral zone. Picked up at the blue line. Centering pass. Penalty coming up on the Blazers. So roughing call at the 1:18 mark. Blazers will be down a man at the 1:18 mark. They're down 3-1. Pick back up. Nichols. Cycles it back over. Cycles it back over to Tobin. Tobin. Back out to Fisher. Fisher, backhand. Back out to Nichols. Lose it off the stick. Back out to Ricky. Tobin. Cycles it back out to Ricky. Cleared it. Back all the way. Aiden's there. Shuffles it back around the opposite side over to Ricky. Ricky clears it back out to the neutral zone. Back out to Bart. Bart sends it over the opposite side, 28 seconds. Tobin clears it back up. 21 seconds. Fisher knocks it back over, back out to Bart. 15 seconds. Back out to Ricky. Ricky. Four seconds. 3, 2, 1. And that'll do it. So Team Philadelphia comes away with the win over a tough Blazers team. 3-1. For the only game of the weekend. We will be facing the Blazers again next weekend. I believe next weekend is at the Northeast Skate Zone. So stay tuned for that. And we will see you folks then.